It's Tuesday, September 25th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we take a deep dive into the almost 100-year-old Hyannis water system. We learn more about professional development for the Barnstable Police Department, and we take a look back at Parking Day on Main Street last Friday. Here's some news you can use. The mission of Parking Day is to call attention to the need for more urban open space to generate critical debate around how public space is created and allocated, and to improve the quality of urban human habitat, at least until the meter runs out. Parking supervisor and transportation program coordinator for the town of Barnstable, Mona Salamonte, met us on the street this past Friday to highlight this year's activities on Main Street.
Welcome to Parking Day 2018 on Main Street in Hyannis. Yay, we made it! We have a beautiful, sunny, windy afternoon. Take the heat away from us a little bit. The street is full of people and exciting times. So welcome.
Mona, tell me what's happening on the street today. There's all sorts of parking spots that have been blocked off.
We've blocked those parking spaces off so that we could repurpose them for what's considered parklets. So we have all kinds of activities. Behind me, the parking group has a Plinko parking game where we're offering prizes. Next to us is the Bismore Greeters, and they are doing family photos with fun little faces and so forth. Next to them is CCRTA, our transportation here on Cape Cod, and they've got a beautiful fall setup, and they also are doing a photo booth with a beautiful homemade bus. Up and down the street we have the Chamber of Commerce. The town clerk is here doing early registration, voter registration, senior services. They have some brand new evening programs that this has been an awesome platform for them to bring forward today to our residents and also to our visitors alike. We have a musician, and we have the JFK Museum represented along with the Hyannis Business Improvement District. Sturgis students have a phenomenal recycling informational program set up down the street. Liz and I spent some time with them, and they had a great informational sheet. We talked about the future of the straw and all of the talk that's circulating around that right now. So it's a really exciting day. There's prizes, there's education, there's social interaction, and just a real welcoming feeling here on Main Street for everyone.
Excellent. And can you also tell me why this is happening? So this is an international, they do this across the world.
Yes, they do. A company named Rebar, which is an architectural design firm out in Sacramento, actually came up with this idea back in 2005. And at that time, they repurposed just a couple of spots in their city, and it has just grown from there. It's just a way of taking a piece of asphalt and making it offer something more than a parking space. So the city of Cambridge is a phenomenal example for us in the state. They started about 3 or 4 years ago. They're now doing 120 plus spaces throughout the city. So, and it's international. It's everywhere.
Good morning, Chief.
Good morning.
We hear the FBI LEADER program is in town for some law enforcement professional
Yes,
development.
Hold on a second. I got the radio here talking loudly at me. Yes, the FBI LEADER program is in town today. It's a great program. It's for police supervisors to attend, and it's a law enforcement executive training program. So ranks of sergeants and up vary. They break it up into different groups, sergeants, then like lieutenants and captains, and then like a chief level class. where you get together, you learn about different trends and things going on nationally, training opportunities, and but a lot of it really centers on getting together with other people that from other agencies in your own region that may be facing problems and challenges that you are also, and you can come up with different ideas from the area on how things were dealt with or new initiatives and how they started them and things like that.
So does this come to the Cape very often?
We've actually been hosting it now. This is the third class that we've had here. We're going to be having a couple more of them coming up. It comes on and off, but we've been able to book it here recently over the last few years, trying to get them to come back because in the past they really didn't get down here. You'd have to go off to Boston or some other larger area to get this kind of training. It really didn't get booked down here all that often. And it's kind of a supplement to the FBI runs a national academy for police leaders. It runs about 10 to 12 weeks, but you have to go down to Quantico, Virginia, and it can be extremely difficult to get into. They only run that one, location, so it can be difficult to get into. This is meant to, obviously, if those that can't necessarily get into that class due to the size of their agency, you can't just, some of these smaller places can't afford to be missing personnel for a long period of time. So, or if it's just, the wait list is so long, they give this traveling roadshow to go out and do something, reinforce some of those concepts here at a local level.
All right. So the personnel that you sent to these, sergeants and above, or is it rank and file too?
At first we were focusing on like the lieutenants because none of them had been, with the exception of like one or two. So we got those done. We've been moving through the sergeants, and then what we'll do is after we get that done, we'll start focusing on people lower down the ladder who are seeking promotional opportunities, or even some people who've been around for a while. It's nice to go to some of these professional development things to just, they call it polishing the badge or sharpening the sword, to, get reaffirmed in your beliefs, and that hear from others that have also, felt difficulty on the job as well, and how to overcome it and stay positive, and how to set a good example for the people that are around you.
Right, and a lot of these classes, again, are world class, and to be able to do that right in your own backyard is pretty important.
Oh yeah, they are. There's some pretty famous instructors who've led like large agencies like Baltimore, Oakland, agencies in Texas like Houston, out in California, from Los Angeles, and you get some from the Phoenix area. So these instructors are, pretty well versed. They've had a wide range of experience, and they also have some from like some smaller agencies who've done some unique or interesting initiatives, let's say, over the years, and to bring those ideas out and to mainstream them to other law enforcement ideas. One of the big things that they push is, law enforcement mental health. For a long time, there was a lot of stigma attached to that. You didn't want to be seen as someone that was going off to get assistance, and now we recognize that out of all the problems we face, it's that's job-related stress is what causes a lot of it.
Right. And then one other thing that is national coming up next week is your Coffee with a Cop Day.
National Coffee with a Cop Day, yes. We are going to be participating in National Coffee with a Cop Day on October 3rd. I think it's from 7 to 9 or 7:30 to 9:30. We're trying to firm that up with a location, a Dunkin' Donuts location. Tentatively, it is going to be the Dunkin' Donuts location at Route 28 and Putnam Ave, out in the Marston's Mills Cotuit area, over in Windmill Plaza.
Ah, the Millbillies will appreciate your presence.
Hey, we don't use derogatory terms out here.
Hey, I'm a Millbilly. We take pride in that term.
You can say that.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for checking in with us, and good luck, and hopefully everybody learned something at your professional development this week.
I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you, Chief.
Bye-bye.
Miles of pipe underground that is almost 100 years old, emerging contaminants of concern, and rising costs to maintain the water supply. Hans Kaiser, supervisor for the Water Supply Division, met us on the east side end of Main Street in Hyannis to talk about the 30-year plan of water main replacement. I'm with Hans Kaiser, Hyannis Water Supervisor, out on a construction site here on the east end of Main Street. Hans, what are you doing here today?
What we're doing is cleaning and lining a 1911 water main. And this job goes from Barnstable Road to School Street. What we're doing, we are right now installing a temporary water service so that during construction all customers are still going to be serviced and we have fire protection for them. As soon as this temporary water main is installed and flushed out and tested and made sure it's safe, the water is safe, what we'll do is we'll disconnect the 1911 main, the 12-inch main that's 4 or 5 feet down in the ground in Main Street, and start cleaning it out, draining it, cleaning it out. It's going to be all scraped down, and then what we'll do is we'll do a little layer of cement on the inside. We replace all the valves, we replace all the services to people's properties, and we change all the hydrants out, brand new fire hydrants. And we've been doing this type of work also on West Main Street. We did C Street. We're basically, in a structured way, measured way, we go through the village of Hyannis and take care of the water mains. You know, if they need to be replaced, we replace them. If the quality and the size is still good, if the pipe is still good, we'll just clean and line them. And we're moving through the village that way. It's a 30-year pipe replacement and upgrade program. We spend a little bit over $1 million a year, and we do roughly about a mile and a half every year. Last year we worked together with Mass DOT on the Route 28 Beerses Way intersection, and now we do Main Street in this area. Next year we're planning to continue this job and to go from School Street to the Yarmouth Town line. And hopefully by that time, after that job is done, we'll be ready to work together with Mass DOT on the Route 28 Yarmouth Road intersection, right where the Cam Appliance store is. That intersection is scheduled to be redone.
Okay. I have a question for you. You're dealing with over 100-year-old lines here. That must make your job really difficult.
I would say it makes it challenging. Yeah, we have plenty of interesting issues to deal with. We have very old valves. Sometimes they're not accessible. Sometimes they have operating nuts that are rounded instead of square, and so we need to use and purchase special tools to replace them. Sometimes we have to actually excavate them and just replace the valves, but that's $5,000–6,000 per valve, and if you can replace the nut and make it work for a couple $100, it's quite a savings. So that way we can get a lot done with less money. We constantly are aware of that.
The pipes themselves, is there some type of degradation to those pipes over time?
Yes, there is, and actually, especially from the outside in, because here on Cape Cod we have sandy soils, and most of the time the groundwater here has a very low pH, very acidy. So what happens, especially with the older pipes, is that they actually deteriorate from the outside in, and you'll probably see some examples of that pretty soon. Besides that, there's nothing else you can do about that than to basically replace the pipe. One of those situations happened in 6th Ave a couple of weeks ago in West Hyannisport, and we just have to replace 2 blocks of water main, which probably will happen this spring.
Okay. So when we talk about, pipes and valves and things like that, the underlying issue here is water quality. and
Yes.
water quality for our residents and our businesses. What other things are facing you as a water department supervisor that really kind of you want residents to know about water quality?
Besides the usual issues with bacteria and iron and manganese, which is pretty standard here on Cape Cod, there's issues with emerging contaminants. We're dealing with, we have been dealing in Hyannis with the PFAS PFOA situation, basically caused by the Barnstable Fire Training Academy, the firefighting foams. But besides that, we also have issues with another emerging contaminant, 1.4 dioxane, which is basically, or used to be, in everything that basically had bubbles, including Tide, laundry detergents, etc. So to be able to deal with those issues, we really have to install some fairly advanced water treatment systems. We did that already with the activated carbon filtration systems up at Mary Dunn, and right now we're finishing up the design and starting construction on a $12 million plant at the Maha filtration plant. And we are right now exploring and looking at the Hyannis Sports Tradeway area, what the best solution is for that area. And there's multiple options, but we need to work through those. Besides that, we're looking also at new wells and new sources as an option, but that's a long-term project. It's 7 till 10 years out. By the time you do all the permitting, you get everybody involved, you get the design done. It's a long-term process.
Right. So if residents can think of water quality as a layer cake, what are some of those layers that residents really should be concerned about or should look for the town to solve or to be proactive with?
There's a whole bunch of layers. First of all, it's drinking water, so it's a public health issue. Second of all, it is a fire flow issue. We need to have enough volume and pressure of water to be able to fight fires all over town. Of course, you have the bacterial and virus issues, and in Hyannis we do chlorinate, which helps that, takes care of that issue. You have, of course, the iron and manganese issue. Right now we're doing sequestering, but we're looking at green sand filtration to actually remove the iron and manganese. That's part of the new filtration plant in Maha. Besides that, you have the emerging contaminant issue. The PFAS PFOA gets taken out by the carbon filtration systems. And then the 1.4 dioxane, the only way that's a very tough chemical to get out. That basically gets out by advanced oxidation with peroxide and then ultraviolet treatment of the water. Issues that residents can deal with is actually, right now, we would love to have one of the ratepayers in Hyannis, a resident, to help us. There's an opening on the Hyannis Water Board that needs to be filled. So anybody that's willing to spend at least 2 hours every month attending the water board meetings and get to know in more depth what we do and help us make decisions, it's appreciated. And even attending the board meeting and learning about the details would help. Besides that, get involved with local boards. The whole new sewering issue, the coastal embayment issues, it's all related and it's all part of it. The other part is the financial piece. We need to be able to afford what we're doing, which is quite a struggle right now. The Maha filtration plant is $12 million, and how fair is it to have ratepayers come up with all the money when somebody else contaminated the water? And and get involved in that way. There's issues with zoning and enforcement of zoning that could be improved, in my opinion. There's multiple layers. The other issue is if you have leftover medication, to not flush it down the toilet, because that ends up right in the groundwater, via the sewer plant. So basically day-to-day, everyday issues that you deal with, it's important.
So I'm going to finish with this. Cape Cod is located on one single source of water. We call it a single source aquifer.
Yes.
How important is collaboration between watersheds?
Well, I can answer that fairly easy. I'd say it's very important because groundwater flows underground. It doesn't care where you are. It crosses boundaries, town boundaries, and it will go in and out of the ponds. I would say collaboration is critical. That's the only way you can resolve it. And you have to try and keep diligent constantly, because there's constant pressure put on drinking water and uses of land that's not appropriate. And especially also the grandfathering of certain land uses really needs to be addressed.
Here's a must-do item on the community calendar. The Wings of Freedom tour is at the Barnstable Municipal Airport this week through Wednesday. Airport Manager Katie Service has all the event details.
So the Wings of Freedom is the Collins Foundation, and it's a chance to see living history. It is a number of World War II aircraft that have been restored and are in flying condition to bring World War II history to you right here in Barnstable. So we'll have B-17s, a B-24, a Mustang, B-25 Mitchell, which was part of the Doolittle raid on Japan back in World War II. So you don't get this opportunity, very often, and they do include Barnstable Airport in their tour on an annual basis, which we are so fortunate that they do. But we really want you to come out, take in a piece of history at the airport, and learn about your aviation roots. So everything is occurring off of the East Ramp, which is located off of Mary Dunn Way. Price for admittance is through the Collins Foundation. It's how they pay for restoration of their aircraft. It's $12 for adults, $5 for kids 12 and under. We have parking over at that facility. Just follow the signs. The aircraft that will be here, they're identified as static displays. They have crew members from the Collins Foundation that will be here on hand to answer any questions, and also to allow anybody that visits a chance to climb up inside the aircraft and get close and personal. It's very appropriate for children, and the hours of operation: on Monday when they first arrive, they'll be here at noontime, noon to 5. On Tuesday, it's an all-day affair, 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they leave on Wednesday. They'll be here from 9 o'clock in the morning till 12. I would, suggest that if you have a moment to come by in the afternoon on either Monday or Tuesday, after school event for the kids, it's a great opportunity for them to see a piece of history. So there are various dollar amounts to get a flight in one of these aircraft. They are offering those flights. You can go to the Collins Foundation's website. It's www.cfdn.org. That website will lead you to the pricing for whether you want to be in the Mustang or if you want to actually be in the Liberator. It will give you the price sheet for that as well. You know, the biggest thing that we're trying to do is to really educate people about aviation. When I was back in school, when I got my pilot's license, the movie Top Gun had just come out, and that really spurred interest with a lot of youth to get into aviation, to get your pilot's license, and we've lost a little bit of that. You know, there needs to be an element of aviation education coming back to our community and coming back to our youth so that we can spur that interest in them. This is what it's all about. Get these kids and young adults here at the airport, take a look at these aircraft, talk to pilots who actually fly these aircraft, and get some interest in aviation and learn a little bit more.
They're graceful. They're powerful. They're fast. The National Wings of Freedom Tour is coming in honor of our World War II veterans. The ultimate living history experience. Explore these majestic, fully restored World War II bombers inside and out. Take an unforgettable flight in the B-17 Flying Fortress, B-24 Liberator. Even get a little stick time in the world's greatest fighter, the P-51 Mustang. For more information, visit collinsfoundation.org.
Here is a look at this week's meeting schedule for boards, commissions, and committees. Comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook or Instagram. Email us or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.